Okie dokie, boys and girls, let's talk about base strength. Because unlike peak strength, base strength is just something that your body will maintain for a very long time. So, often in training, when you're working towards a goal, you will peak into that goal so that you can perform at a high level for a short period of time, and then afterwards you have this kind of drop. But the opposite of that is your base strength, where even if you don't train for a while, you will never drop down below a certain level. And you build that level up by doing training in a bit of a higher rep range, a bit more volume, a bit lower intensity, so that you don't have to peak, right? You don't want to exert or overexert yourself. You want to stimulate yourself, but you don't want to go too far. And that's what I'm going to do today. So the way I'm going to do that is, well, it's a leg day for the Nordic curls, which is the hamstring part, I will curl like this. It trains the hamstrings. I'm going to just do body weight reps, which at this point, I'm happy to say have become quite easy for me. So I can do them for multiple reps. And I'm just going to aim for 3 sets, and then I guess something like 6 or 8 reps. I'll have to see how exactly I'm going to do it, and then the last set maybe I'll go a bit harder. But the point being, I'm not doing 1 rep maxes here, right? I could go out there today and do a 1 rep max with like maybe 10 kilos on my Nordic curl, right? And I would feel fucking strong, but that's kind of my max out effort. And after that max out effort, I'm gonna have to recover for a while. But I'm going on a vacation. I don't have time to, spend time on recovery and get my level back up. So what I will do instead is, I will not add weight. I will do the lighter version, the body weight version of the Nordic curl, and just allow my body to stay comfortable, kinda, right? It's not always a bad thing to stay comfortable in your training, right? It will allow you to get strong in a safe manner. And doing these Nordic curls, it will be a total volume of about 20 reps. That's good volume. That's something that is going to stimulate your body for the future. And that strength, just like muscle, right? Of course, when you're natural, right? Your muscle just doesn't fade away in a couple of weeks when you stop training. It's there for months. And in the same way, when you train like this, when you train your base power, it's something that you have access to for a very long time, unless you stop training for a very long time, right? Then it starts to deteriorate. But in my case, I'm gonna be gone for 3 weeks and a bit. I'm not gonna be able to train, well, a lot of legs in those 3 weeks. But because my base is gonna be strong, I don't think I will really lose a lot of level. So that's what I'm gonna do now. So yeah, let's go. After that, we have some pistol squats. Okay, so that was it for the Nordic curls. 3 sets only, but in my case, that's enough for now. I'm just trying to maintain a base level or build up a base level even a little bit, but I don't have to exert myself to the limit to get into some sort of peak. I don't want to peak. I want to maintain that base level so that I can, keep my strength until I get back from Japan. And 6 reps on the first 2 sets because I felt a bit weak. and then 10 on the last one. Even those 10 reps, I don't think the effort level was insane on that one, you know? So on the first two sets, what I really focused on is to control the reps as much as possible. Of course, it was not perfect. I can control it even more on the final stretch down. But even so, I tried, right? So that's very good. And then on the last hit, I let my form go a little bit more. I use a little bit more bounce off the ground to get back up, to get a bit more reps, get a better pump. But still, it was decent, I believe, you know, and it's not like I was putting out max effort. So mission achieved, you know, you don't want to exert yourself on basics training. That's basically the point of this video. And by not exerting yourself, you're allowing yourself to be in this steady state of recovery. Your peaks are not like this, you know, they're more like this, you know, a more steady wave. And if your peak goes less high, you drop down less after the training as well. You know, you have your peak performance, after which you have to recover, and you usually go down in strength. But if you keep your training, you know, below a certain intensity point, let's say 70%, it's going to be smaller peaks, smaller recovery, downsides, I'll say, right? And it's going to be this steady flow. So that's kind of why I'm doing it. That's kind of why you stay strong. So right now, warming up, or I'm going to warm up with some pistol squats. Backpack contains 8 kilos, which I will use for the warm-up, and then I will take the dumbbells as well, which then in total adds up to 34 kilos. And I'll do my warm-up set first and then explain why I'm choosing those 34 kilos. All right. The warm-up is the most difficult mobility-wise, but that gives me an easier time during the actual sits, which is exactly what I want. So why am I choosing 34 kilos in total? Well, if you watched last training, you will know I did 34 kilos as well. And basically what I'm going to do to build up my base, and also kind of know my baseline because it's the first time I'm doing this, is to see how much reps I can do with 34 kilo pistol squats over a period of 6 days. 6 days because I have push-pull legs, push-pull legs. That's one cycle for me. And I'm going to use that as a reference for when I come back from Japan to basically build up from there. Because, you know, I've been a bit impatient with the pistol squat, trying to build up to 1 rep maxes. But, you know, you don't get to a 1 rep max or an insane 1 rep max if you don't have the base for it. The 1 rep max is not what gives you the most strength benefit. It's just a result of your other strength training, right? So I'm going to do a bit more volume, and I want to see if I can do these 34 kilo pistol squats for a good amount of volume over the course of 2 trainings, right? And then repeat it, and basically keep on adding on my 6-day pistol squat PR, if you get what I'm saying. So yeah, 34 kilos here. Imagine I can get to 100 reps over the period of 6 days, right? I'm going to try and do 80% in my leg days themselves, but that's a good amount of reps with this amount of weight. And at that point, if I'm able to do that, right, I'm also safely able to add a bit more weight, right, and do it again, repeat the cycle. So that's kind of the strategy I'm following. Again, you know, higher reps, 100 reps in 2 trainings in a bit, right? That's a lot of reps for pistol squat, for strength. But doing that higher rep range, it will build my base. It will prevent me from really like going into that insane peak of a 1 rep max and then crashing down, which is what I want to prevent. So let's go. Let's see how many sets we can get of 3 reps. Okay, so except for that little misgroove at the end of the last rep, that went fine. I mean, time flies when you're having fun, or so they say. Before I knew it, I was at like, let me fucking put you guys straight here. I was at 8 sets, and then well, when it comes to that, you might as well do 10, right? So 10 sets of 3 reps with 34 kilos. Whew, I'm feeling it. But that was a good training. I also felt very mobile, which might just be the heat, or it might be the fact that I've been stretching once in a while. You know, this latest period. But anyway, I'm not gonna complain. That's a very good workout. So when it comes to the volume building, the base building for these pistol squats, yeah, in the last 6 days I've done 45 reps with this weight, and that's not that much yet. But if I can get between like 60 and 100 or something, that's gonna be a good base of volume, right? And oftentimes when people think of PRs, they think of 1 rep maxes, max planche hold, full hold, max pull-ups, max push-ups. But you can have other kinds of PRs as well, volume PRs, rest time PRs, any kind of PR you can basically imagine. So in this case, it was a volume PR. 34 kilos, 30 reps in one training, 45 in 6 days. If I go and repeat that after my holiday, and I do 46 in 2 trainings, that's a PR, that's a volume PR, and it doesn't have to be restricted to one training, right? I can restrict it to a certain period of time of my liking, amount of pistol squats in 1 minute, 5 minutes, 1 hour, 1 day, 2 days, a week, right? You can determine all of these PRs for yourself, and I think by focusing on the volume part, you're really able to build your base, right? Especially if you don't go all out every time, but you give yourself some space, some leeway, so you finish the training being able to do a couple more sets. I did 10 sets today, but I'm able to do a couple more, right? I might be able to do 12 to 15 sets even, right? So I keep a little bit in the tank, allowing myself, my body basically, to have a small peak and a small recovery cycle, and that will keep my strength level during the trip to Japan as well. I might do some pistol squats there, of course, but it's gonna be body weight, so not really training that is very specific to what I'm trying to do, but good training nonetheless. And not forcing yourself. It's a holiday nonetheless, right? Not forcing yourself, not beating yourself to complete shit is gonna allow yourself to get back on track faster afterwards, right? This base strength is the general strength. It's what eventually becomes your dad strength, when you grow older and you maybe have some kids, right? What the kids call dad strength, that's general strength from over the years of not really pushing yourself insanely hard, but just doing daily tasks, right? My grandpa used to be like a bit of a farmer, and he was insanely strong because he was doing, heavy labor, right? Almost every day. He was working in the garden. And even though, he's not completely dead at the end of the day, right? He could go a couple more hours if needed. He's building up that strength consistently over the years. And that's what you call, well, in my case, grandpa strength or dad strength, right? But that's, that's the benefit of basic training, of building your base. That's why your base is so important, because if you have your base, you have a solid foundation to build a peak on top of that. And if you have no base and you try to build a peak on top of that, well, it's gonna crumble. So yeah, base is very important. How many times have I said that today? Too many. But anyway, that's it for today's training. It was very good. Very happy with the leg gains. Yeah, buddy. These are coming along nicely. So that's it. Shower, breakfast. I'll see you tomorrow.